Welcome to the Storage Policies How a Storage Policy Works Learning Byte. This short video will explain how a storage policy works. It will include the definition of a storage policy, as well as the main components that help the administrator manage stored data. Let's begin. A storage policy separates production data into individual containers known as subclients. A subclient defines the actual data that is protected and contains an entire server, drives, folders, database, user mailboxes, virtual machines, document repositories. In this example, we have three subclients: OS data, finance data, and legal data. Each one is associated with a storage policy. Each subclient is managed in an on-site copy, a document repository copy, and potentially in a compliance copy as defined by retention rules. Notice in this example, the OS data subclient retention rules did not require the storage policy to be saved for 7 years. Therefore, it does not have a compliance copy. The concept of storage policy copies is that protected data can be copied to multiple locations, such as a main data center and a DR site, by using one source backup from the production system. There are three types of storage policy copies: primary copy, secondary synchronous copy, and secondary selective copy. A primary copy defines the rules for protected data. Each storage policy can have two primary copies, a primary snap copy and a primary backup copy. The primary snap copy manages protected data using the Commvault IntelliSnap technology. This feature enables you to create a point-in-time snapshot of the application data to be used for data protection. The primary backup copy manages traditional agent-based data protection jobs. In this example, three subclients are associated with the storage policy. The primary snap copy conducts and manages snapshots for the finance data subclient and retains 12 snaps on the volume. The primary backup copy manages all subclients with a 1-month retention cycle. Once data is protected to the primary copy location, additional or secondary copies can be generated within the protected storage environment without impacting production resources. There are two types of secondary copies: secondary synchronous and secondary selective. You can configure as many secondary copies as needed to manage stored data. This gives you the flexibility to meet company policies. A synchronous copy is a secondary copy which synchronizes protected data with a source copy. All valid data, jobs that completed successfully, is copied to the synchronous copy via an update process called an auxiliary copy operation. This means that all full, incremental, differential, transaction log, or archive jobs from a source copy is also managed by the synchronous copy. Synchronous copies are used to meet the following requirements: consistent point-in-time copies of data required to restore data to a particular point in time within a cycle. Copies that are required to be sent off-site daily. The ability to restore multiple versions of an object from a secondary copy within a cycle. A selective copy enables an automatic selection of specific full backups based on specified time periods, or a manual selection of any backup for additional protection. Selective copies can be generated automatically based on a number of cycles, days, weeks, or months. These copies are used to meet the following requirements: sending data off-site weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly, and archiving point-in-time copies of data for compliance and government regulations. When a secondary copy is created, it must be designated as either a synchronous, which is the default setting, or a selective copy. In version 11, secondary copies can be switched between synchronous and selective. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed watching this Learning Byte for storage policies, how a storage policy works. For additional information, please visit our Education Advantage website, ea.commvault.com.